A slow start to the 2026 season could end up being fatal in the NFC East for the Washington Commanders. So I am taking preseason in these joint practice very, very serious this year. Empowered by Prize Picks. This is Rambling About Washington. What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson, back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about our Washington Commanders. It is Friday, May the 22nd. Perfect day to pull out a windbreaker. It's rainy, it's breezy, and it does not feel like Memorial Day weekend. But today, I want to talk to everyone about the importance of the 2026 preseason / joint practice sessions Washington will be holding with the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens. Shit, I'm so serious about this offseason. I wouldn't be mad if Lance Newmark rang Detroit and said, yo, we'll come up to Detroit for joint practices with y'all too. I wouldn't mind joint practice sessions with every team on our preseason schedule. So Washington's preseason schedule is as follows. Joint practice with the Dolphins in Ashburn on Wednesday, August the 12th, followed by the game on August the 14th. And then week 2 of the preseason at the Lions, Saturday, August 22nd at noon. And our final joint practice session will be with the nefarious Baltimore Ravens. You know, they called and canceled joint practice with us last year the same way that they backed out of the Max Crosby trade. So some of the dastardly dealings of that franchise, hopefully they stick to it and don't rain check us for a second year in a row. But we're going up to Owings Mills on Wednesday, August the 26th, and then our preseason finale is Friday, August the 28th at 7 p.m. So we got 2 7 p.m. games and a noon game in the preseason. And I want us to take this shit very serious. I want us moving like Jaden's a rookie. Dan Quinn is a rookie coach. This is a very serious year. We need to mean business this summer. I can already tell by the clips that I've seen of OTA phase 2 and phase 1 practices. It feels like the energy's different. Last year, we got zapped of our morale, our aura, and our superpowers during the Terry McLaurin contract negotiation. We were never to regain it at any point of the 2025 season. I need us moving different. I need it feeling like 2024 in this bitch again when this preseason starts. So I like that our first joint practice session is versus a up-and-comer, versus a team that we should be better than. You don't go into any season, because the NFL is year to year, week to week, month to month. It's very different. But I look at that Dolphins roster. I look at the moves they've made. I look at all of the new. And in Miami, if we come out looking rough in joint practices versus the Miami Dolphins, I'm going to take that to mean something. I'm not someone who ever takes the preseason serious. I don't know about you guys, but that shit burger that we put out there at Gillette Stadium for the Patriots preseason game last year, that shit traveled with us to the regular season. It was clearly a symbol of how 2025 was going to work for the Washington Commanders. So we need to treat this with the utmost importance. Jaden better look way better than Malik Willis. We should be moving on them, boy. If that defense is getting carved up by Malik Willis, even in joint practice or a preseason game, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that, bro. Y'all remember the joint practice sessions we did with the New England Patriots last year? You want to know why you probably don't remember them? Because it felt like there was a gag order, or like the local media on our side of things were like embargoed from speaking about it because everything we saw from them joint practices came from the Patriots beat. We were getting absolutely nothing from the Washington beat until Lake Lewis hopped on my channel immediately after practice from the field and told us what happened. I said, Lake, brother, did they take y'all's phones? Are y'all prisoners of war? Because and then he pretty much was like, Rio, look, and we did not look, the team did not look good out there today. But whether the team looks good or not, we expect to be fed because we're starving at this time of year. And we're seeing update after update from the Patriots side about how they're kicking our backs in at practice, whether we look good or bad, report it. And that's why it's nice to have friends in high places. And we got that immediate coverage from Lake Lewis Jr. But I say all this to say, we can't have that this year. So first things first, joint practices at the crib on August the 12th. Hey, Washington, open that shit up to the public. One of my best memories was being able to see Tom Brady and the Patriots up close and personal at joint practice. And that's when I finally had the realization this RG3 shit is just not going to work because the guy couldn't complete a damn pass in practice. We better have Malik Willis looking like that, learning a new system on a new team with no receivers in Miami. We better have Malik Willis looking like Heineke with a cannon. We better have Malik Willis looking crazy on that football field. But the real bump, before we even get to the real bump of week 3, the real bump of the preseason is the Detroit Lions week 2. We know week 3 is the roster bubble Olympics. We'll probably get 4 quarters of Ethan Kaliak-Manis in week 3 of the preseason. The joint practice versus the Ravens, that's the bump of the preseason. But the dress rehearsal game for the NFL regular season is week 2 versus the Detroit Lions, and I hope the Lions come out swinging because I want their best shot in preseason. America's #1 sports pick application, Prize Picks, is a daily fantasy sports platform. Distinctly separate from sports betting, the app is really easy to use. Just pick more or less on a few player stats to create a lineup. It could be points, yards, strikeouts, touchdowns, etc. Platform even offers team picks where you can pick the winner, spread, and total on any major game. Prize Picks is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. And just like social media, you can follow me on the Prize Picks app at Rio Robinson 91 and tell my lineups before they hit my video or live stream on YouTube. New user offer. Play $5, get $50 in lineups today. To download the app using promo code HMA. One more time, that was promo code HMA. Link is in the description below. Shout out to Prize Picks. As Newmark, hit up your boy Brad Holmes, hit up Dan Campbell and company. Yo, we trying to run a joint practice fade. Let us come run up to the dome and get a practice session with y'all, bro. Our schedule is a season-long gauntlet of bump, of smoke, and we're getting right to the NFC East shits off the rip. At Philly week 1, at Dallas week 2. Jaden ain't seen the Eagles since the NFC Championship where they 55'd us. They double nickeled us. And we just struggled notoriously versus Rain Dakota Prescott. Jaden has been in the matrix every time he's seen the Dallas Cowboys on the schedule so far. And then week 3, the Seattle Seahawks, the Super Bowl motherfucking champions that dislocated his elbow last year. We don't have time for the shenanigans. We do not have time for a slow start. A 1-2, 0-3 start could be our death before we even make the trip up to London to Tottenham Spurs Stadium. So we need to come out firing this year. Yes, I think we're going to get the new coordinator bump on both sides of the ball. Yes, I think we get to thrive off of the element of surprise. But we need to treat the preseason and these joint practices like we are a startup program again. We need to move like it's 2024 and 2026. I need Jaden to play a minimum of 2.5 quarters in the preseason. So, preseason game number one quarter, 2 or 3 series, minimum. You're in a new offense, bucko. I need to see David Blau's offense. I need to see Jaden taking snaps under center. I need to see Jaden taking play action, bootleg snaps under center. You don't want to do too much with him. And it also matters the health of the offensive line and how everyone's making it through training camp. But less vet rest days, unless your name is Laramie Tunsil. And I need these boys playing. So preseason week number 1, I need a quarter out of JD5 and company. Preseason game number 2, I need a half. Do y'all remember the good old days of the 4-game preseason schedule? Do y'all remember the dress rehearsal game? Preseason game number 3. One of the most fun preseason games I've ever attended was rookie year Andrew Luck versus rookie year RG3 at the crib, FedEx Field. They were going at it for a half. Yes, versus Detroit. I want y'all moving like it's the divisional round in 24 again. They smacked us up on our field last year. Do I give a shit about winning these preseason games? No. Do I give a shit about how we look in joint practice? Yes, because that's the closest to actual game speed we're going to see this team moving at, and you get to see another team's defense. You know, you acclimate to your own defense. You get used to seeing what the new schemes are. It's nice to see it versus other teams. But I do need guys out there and getting reps, because the first thing I thought watching us open the season versus the Giants last year was that we look like a team whose starters only played 1 series in the preseason. Jaden came out, got a touchdown versus the Bengals, never saw him again. We need to be moving like in 2024, where I watched Jaden play a whole half and was dissecting the Miami Dolphins. You know, that same game where River Craycraft head topped and dunked on Benjamin St. Jude. Yeah, that. We need to do that. And I may be tripping. If I'm tripping in the comments, let me know. But since Sean McVay started the trend of not playing starters in the preseason, there's data for both sides of the argument, whether guys should be rested versus guys should be playing. But in a season as important as this one, with a new offensive scheme, a new defensive scheme, and year 3 is the pivotal year for your starting quarterback. When you have a franchise, face of the franchise, centerpiece guy like Jaden Daniels, year 3 is supposed to be the year they start putting it all together. Year 1 either could go really well or really bad. Year 2, they always say there's a slump. Year 3 is supposed to be when the superstar starts to put on his costume for the first time and become Batman. Peak superpowers type shit. And I think in this big boy offense, Jaden Daniels can truly thrive. I think there's still another piece to be added at some point of this offseason. We'll see when someone gets released across the country in the Bay. But let me know in the comments if I am tripping or not. I think this team needs to take the preseason very seriously. I think these joint practices matter. I wish they could call Detroit and add a 3rd joint practice session, because I want all of the live bullets for Jaden Daniels and company, because this season is personal. This is the revenge tour. This is when we get our lick back. They've been writing us out. They've been counting us out. And y'all need to remember who Jaden Daniels is, man. He's in the lab cooking up right now. I can't wait to see what it looks like in 2026. But F the training camp reps. I need us taking the preseason and these joint practices with the utmost importance. Talk to me in the comments about if I'm right or wrong about this one. Y'all have a beautiful Memorial Day weekend. I'll probably have another drop coming out later this evening discussing another topic. That's all I got for right now. Hell to the Washington Commanders. Until next time, Commander Rio, out.